If you're just joining us, well, a very good morning. Welcome to the AM show. You missed the news, which was brought to us by Mapito Sibidi. But we've got plenty of other stories to share by way of what the newspapers are reporting this day. Today is also the day that our MPs go back to Parliament. I'll do the Daily Graphic, the Daily Dispatch, and the Daily Guide newspaper.
From my end, I'll do the Ghanaian Times, the Finder newspaper, the Daily Statesman, and the Business and Financial Times.
I'd like to start with the Daily Guide newspaper this morning. On the front page, CS drama at Galamsey trial tells the story. Remember, the over 30 persons were arrested. They posed as national security persons, and at night they went to a Galamsey site to look for gold. Well, they've been in court twice now, and it says relatives thought that they would be allowed to go at the last court hearing, but they have been made to stay in police custody a while longer. The story is in the Daily Guide newspaper this morning. Prisoners go wild over poor food. And this is an exciting story for me. So when I come back, I would give you the breakdown, what happened in the secondary prison, what the prisoners decided to do because they were not happy. Exactly. And I like that. I like that even people in prison are fighting for their rights, which is really good.
They are human. We can't, of course, some rights are denied them, but it doesn't mean we can treat them in any way just because they are prisoners.
Absolutely. Nana wants Ghana on UN Security Council. Also another story in the paper today, still on the front page. World meets in Ghana. Forum bounces back 2022. The Konfanochi Teaching Hospital mother-baby unit goes down. We talked about this some time back, the fact that they're pulling the entire structure down. On the back page, Kotoko coach flies out to Portugal. Aguero has a problem with Pep, apparently. Olympics get Royal Loop support. Ronaldo first to conquer Serie A, EPL, and La Liga. Details of some of the stories when we get to that point, including, is Kwabena gay or not? What is he saying? And why do some people think that he is gay? That's it for the Daily Guide newspaper.
Kwabena. Well, he was around here yesterday, and a whole lot of talk about him, his music, and that bit you just mentioned. Anyway, let's get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The banner headline, Ghana to produce COVID-19 vaccines. It's actually a question. Since yesterday, we've been talking about this, and the EU's, bid, the European Commission's bid to start producing vaccines in Africa. Will Ghana be the hub? That is the big question. Only time will tell. There is, on page 8, our struggle against Galamsey is gaining the attention of Ghanaians in the UK. And, of course, today is African Union Day. On page 17, Jonathan Donko shares some thoughts from Dr. Vladimir Entry Danso. But before I get to the back page, the page I actually want to focus on by way of stories is page 3. It says, suspect in Cape Coast head teacher murder arrested. And in summary, the Central Regional Police has arrested a suspect in connection with the murder of Goman Ayifa, 40, head teacher at the Ansapatu Basic School near Ifutu in the Cape Coast metropolis. And that's according to Public Relations Officer of the Police, Deputy Superintendent of Police, Irene Opong, who confirmed the arrest. However, the police has declined to mention the name of the suspect for security reasons. We wait to see what happens in that respect. Now, a robber has been lynched and his accomplice has drowned in a lagoon. And here's the story. Here's what actually happened. A mob was lynching the suspected robber, and his alleged accomplice drowned in a nearby lagoon in his attempt to escape instant justice at Sakaman in the Greater Accra region. The suspected robbers had allegedly robbed a woman of her handbag using a pair of scissors, and that's what DSP Mrs. Ifya Tenge can confirm. Two tidbits from page 3, and I am done. Now, Another piece of, well, information that really excites me, or at least makes me more curious. Murder of the Infantiman MP. Police await AG's advice. And the Assistant Superintendent of Police, Fuseini Yakubu, has told the Accra Circuit Court, when sitting resumed on Wednesday, that the police are waiting for the Attorney General's advice on the murdered Infantiman Member of Parliament, Ekokwansa Hayford. 8 persons have so far been arrested for their alleged involvement in the murder and robbery of Mr. Hayford. Why I am raising the issue is, of course, recently we've heard, the police establishment, the security establishment talking about the fact that they are going to ensure, including the IGP, that they are going to ensure that all of these murders, Ahmed Hussein Swale, JB Dankwedu, among others, well, that there is some resolution to them. Here's another one, the Infantiman MP, and at least now, I guess the buck stops at the doorstep of the Attorney General. Let's see what happens from here. The final bit, Mason gets 15 years for defiling 4-year-old girl. 48-year-old Mason at Odoko Tipa Junction has been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment. His name is Akwesi Yaboa. And I think fitting, 4-year-old girl. I mean, if you're crude, how crude can you be? Well, that's it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper on the front page. I guess a subject matter that we all tend to talk about when we are on the road sometimes, but sometimes you can shout and talk and talk and talk and nothing happens. I'm talking about dark streets, the fact that in most instances we've got the street lights, but they are just not functioning. The paper is putting a spotlight, and this is a very extensive report from around the country. They sent reporters on the ground to monitor the situation, so they're just highlighting. Authorities know already. So the paper is just reminding them of the places where there are non-functioning
street lights,
and there are many parts.
We have streets, not street lights. We have streets, but lights.
Oh, yeah. So they talk about some ceremonial places, just few, for instance, in Accra, but there are many parts of the capital that also doesn't have functioning street. You can add your area to it and you will not be wrong at all. So they talk about Sunyai, and Sunyai, they've got some 7-kilometer street stretching from the Sunyai Senior High School through the Cocoa House roundabout to the Fiapre roundabout. That place, they've got street lights, and I hear it's really beautiful. But if you go to other places, the lights are not functioning. So they mention suburbs such as Newtown, Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, Area 4. They've got street lights. Let's see the other places. Abesim, Fiapre, Odumase, Penkwase, among others, are bright in the night after the installation of the streetlight. However, in places such as Esufofo, the light poles broke down after their installation, thereby plunging the areas into darkness during the night. So maybe Sunyang is a bit lucky. Accra, not so lucky because there are lots of places. So Accra to Tema, the lights are functional only up to the Black Star Square. Once one approaches Osu, one is met with total darkness, which continues through to Lateshi, Nungwa, and even Tema, the industrial hub. They talk about Kanishi as well. Let me add my Pokwasi to it. Not where they're doing the construction, because when they are done, we know that there will be lots of light. But from Ofanko all the way through to Circle, hardly would you see the lights functioning. So just putting the spotlights on a situation that we're already very familiar with and hoping that authorities will fix it. Also on the front page, World Meets in Ghana Investment Forum fixed for 2022. And then the Securities Exchange Commission launches first master plan for capital market. And Cobra River regaining quality. When we come back to sharing the details, I'll tell you about Moses Doche Akrobato's visit and his report. On the back page, Malcolm Foundation support girls' menstrual hygiene. We've heard stories about how some girls are unable to go to school because of their period, and obviously because they don't have the necessary materials to help them still be in school and still be on their menses. There are some other people who also use unhygienic material, so it's a good thing that Malcolm Foundation is stretching its hands and making a big donation to a foundation. It's a non-governmental organization, and it is called Touching the Lives of Girls Foundation International. So what they've given them, which is 100 cartons of sanitary pads, will be given to girls in the Volta region and in some parts of the Ashanti region, specifically in Obuasi, we're told. So good thing, Malcolm. We hope that other people will also follow. This sad story, which was in our news: tanker explodes, burns half of a village. Half of a village. A 2-year-old sadly passed. We're told some of the children, and I hope that we can get updates today where they would say that the children have been found, because, you know, when the thing happened, everybody was running. And there were these children who also ran in separate directions who were not found. One of those things that, you know, you don't imagine that it would happen. But yes, it happened.
After the atomic explosion, we told ourselves, I mean, following what had happened, I think there was a one around Trade Fair as well, you know, subsequent ones. And each time you hear of these explosions, it's always because it is so gory.
Yeah.
And the cost when it comes to life, I don't know, but we need more and more policies and policy implementation.
I don't know if this one had to do with a speeding vehicle who was maneuvering a curve.
Yes. But I'm saying that by and large, even with these vehicles that are even those who are carting petroleum products and all of that, sometimes the whole activity, you see them on the streets, and sometimes the recklessness, even how they drive, you know. Yeah. I have had one cross me so badly. You see what used to be the former Shangri-La Hotel, and this car was in a far inner lane, you know, and it was heading towards the Accra Mall, and it just came and, you know, from that lane came and just swooped through. Sometimes, I mean, it's so dangerous. Yeah. And that is what I mean. We can do a lot more to actually prevent some of these. But on the bit about the street lights, quickly, you know, when I was speaking with Dr. Ayo Abudu, who shared his insight with us yesterday, he did mention that at some point he wanted a street light. And old man, he went to his DCE, and he went there for about a year, and he realized that, Charlie, the street light, so he did it himself. I don't know, but how many people can do these things on their own?
There are many other Ghanaians who do it themselves, so he's just welcome to the group.
Ah, well. Well, let's quickly look at the Finder newspaper, and I'll focus on a few stories here. COVID-19, more than 100,000 received second jab in 5 days, and more than 100,000 people have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. As of Sunday, May 23rd, data from the Ghana Health Service has shown the exercise, which began on May 19, is expected to inoculate about 360,000 persons who received their first jab from March 1 to March 9 this year. I have got my jab. Have you? That's the question. If you haven't, do ensure you get it so all of us can stay safe, stay alive, and contribute to Mother Ghana. The next story I'll do is on page 13, and it has to do with something we'll be talking about later on the show today. More reforms needed at national security, that's according to the CDD, which is calling for more to be done in reforming the national security architecture in order for it to achieve its goals. Now, in a press statement reacting to moves by the ministry to revoke the secondment of Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ajiman of the Ghana Armed Forces and 3 officers of the Ghana Police Service for breach of standard operating procedures on the matter, the think tank said despite this being the first time the national security outfit was admitting to the inappropriateness of the actions of its operatives, the ministry's description of these actions as merely inappropriate does not send the right signal or deter officers of national security. Of course, now we've had the entire situation with the allegation, let me leave it at that for now, that Lieutenant Colonel Ajiman has been, taken back to the 64 Infantry Regiment, which he had command of, by the way, before his secondment to national security. Some say that is a pat on the back. Is it the case? I'll wrap with this one. Arsenal, well, two stories actually. Arsenal missing out on Europe is disappointing. That's according to Thomas Partey. Of course, his Arsenal did not make it to Europe. But it's interesting because he's actually a La Liga winner. He played about 3 matches for Atletico Madrid before his departure for Arsenal, which actually means, according to Balagé, that he is a winner. Yes, he has won with Atletico Madrid. That is some interesting news. I'll wrap up in sports with this one. Ronaldo, I'm talking about Cristiano, makes history as Serie A top goal scorer. And he's finished with 29 goals, and he actually won the Capo Cannoniere race for the first time. In total, he has scored 81 Serie A goals in 97 appearances. So that's it for the Finder newspaper.
Let's do the Daily Dispatch, the last one for me before we get into details of some of the stories on the front page of the Daily Dispatch. And this is what I will talk about. 5-2 contest for NPP National Chairman slots. The Daily Dispatch is reporting that the 5th person who's joined the race is Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Insia Sari. The 4 others, Mr. Edward Boateng, who was Ghana's ambassador to China, Mr. Ishmael Ashite, the former Greater Accra Regional Minister, Professor Mayor Konfi, a former Minister of State and Member of Parliament, and Mr. Stephen Ntim, who will be making his 5th attempt to be elected for his position. And according to the story, Mr. Ntim failed back in 2018 because he did not have the support of the president. And so they're asking the question, or they say many are asking, if the president will support Mr. Ntim this time around. But some also say maybe not. Why? Because there's Mr. Boateng and Professor Konfi and Dr. Insia Asari. So that's, I guess,
Stephen
the projection.
Ntim is a very old dog when it comes to this contest. He's been there, but in a way, I feel a little sad for him within the party. He's contested and contested and contested, and each time it's always been, well, this close, yet not so close. Almost there, but he never gets there.
Okay, so that's it for the Daily Dispatch newspaper. They've got other headlines in the paper you can check out.
Well, let's check out the Daily Statesman now. And this story interests me a lot. NPP endorses excavator burning in Galamsey fight. And now, well, it's become an official policy, if you like. The governing New Patriotic Party says the burning of illegal mining equipment has become necessary to put an end to the act before it spirals out of control. Now, the Director of Communications of the party, Yalbavin Asamoah, has been speaking and in a statement noted that though strong arguments had been made against the outright burning of illegal equipment near river bodies and forest reserves, the government has been compelled to resort to such radical measures to save the country. Momavi, I just reflect briefly on this. I disagree. And while Galamsey is a big menace that ought to be addressed, what does this say? Does it mean the system does not trust itself? What does that say about the system? Of course, we've had excavators grow wings and fly to their owners when they shouldn't have had custody of them. We've had some of these supposedly cross our borders and be sold and all of that. But why not nip the situation in the bud, close the loopholes so that we can maintain these excavators? Now, mind you, when we burn them, we create even more of an environmental hazard. Now, how are you going to move these? How are you going to convey them? Where are you going to dispose of them? What happens to even the burnt excavators? These are the same excavators we could use for land reclamation, even as Galamsey takes its toll. There are so many things we could put them to use for. In other words, we're burning what could be resources to us, assets to us, making them liabilities. And in the end, for land reclamation and all of that, government is going to have to use our taxpayers' money to get new excavators. So, yes, I totally get the bit about Galamsey is a sore menace and we need to get rid of it. And maybe we don't trust ourselves, but I feel the same mistrust that we've created in the system is biting us because we could have made use of these excavators. But
I've heard these arguments, brilliant, but we're talking about reality here. We've seen them in the past.
The reality is we can
to the
deal with
use that you know, the people who hold your view advocate. This is reality. We are in an emergency situation. If we have to take these drastic measures, I guess that's the way we go.
And the reality too is that we could actually frame policy so that none of these excavators will end up in a place that they shouldn't.
Do you know the number of policies we have, the brilliant ideas we have?
So of course that would be policy backed with
how long have we been fighting,
implementation. What we are doing now with the military and all of that, it's a step in the implementation process. It's the same way we could implement this and make the most of a bad situation.
What I know is that we've heard people speak plenty, nice things. Nothing has happened. If this one is giving us results, let's do it. I want to do this in the Daily Guide newspaper. It's a radical idea that I have, but some of us also hold that view that they should go ahead. If the military is doing this and we're getting results, go for it. But on page 3 in the Daily Guide newspaper, these are prisoners in the Secondary prison, and they took an action that I'm excited about. So first of all, you know that we give prisoners 1 cedi 80 pesos a day. That's their feeding fee for a day. And these prisoners woke up on Friday morning, that's last Friday morning, and decided that the food that they are being served and the general condition in that prison is not humane. It's really not cool. So they decided to take an action, boycott the food that was served that morning, just to establish their displeasure. And yeah, they are in the news and we're talking about it. It's bringing us back to that subject. But the Secondary prison, speaking through its PRO, also explains that, check this out, the prison was made for 400 inmates, but now they have 600. So it's way beyond them. They get the sentiment that's being expressed. They agree that the conditions are not the best. The food is not the best. But how do you reasonably give 1 cedi 80p to 600 persons in a facility like that? So good job by the prisoners by, taking that action to highlight, their predicament, if you like. Me and you, we could be prisoners someday. The fact that you go to prison doesn't mean that you've necessarily done what you're being accused of. Sometimes people are remanded and they're taken to prison whilst their case continue. You can be sentenced to prison by way of punishment. You never know who could land himself there. So we need to fix this. But the Secondary prison is also making an appeal. While we talk about the big things in terms of the policy, they are also asking that if you can make donations to them, it could go a long way in helping resolve the matter. So that's the bit about the Secondary, the prison inmates and the action that they took last Friday, highlighting the fact that 180p for food is not enough, and they're not getting quality food to eat whilst in prison.
I think you should imagine it. Even the cheapest biscuits out there, the very little things we buy for our kids, how much are they? So it gives you an idea what 1 cedi 80 pesos can do. Is that Operation Efiase, there was something, to aid them, where people were donating 1 cedi and the rest. I don't know whether it's still active.
I'm not sure, project. Because this was under Pastor Wengam's leadership. I think he was on the board, right? So we have to go back and see if it's being continued. Yeah.
Well, these are moves, and I feel, any donations to them can be made because indeed they are in dire straits. Are you done with that?
With the dispatch, yes. Just one more on Galamsey, but you can go, I'll come back.
All right, so NPP worried about excessive scramble for MMDCE positions. I just bring that up because we were talking about it yesterday, and it appears the party itself is worried about the scramble that, looking at the positions and the number of people coming in, what exactly is it? Well, we'll see how it goes. In the end, though, it's just over 200 people who will get the slot. But I'm not going to ask this question because we all like money. But how much are you able to take risks, or how willing are you able to take risks?
These days, dear Charlie, I'm a big risk taker.
Especially when it comes to money.
Measured
risk taking.
Measured, yes, exactly. Okay. I'll calculate a lot.
So on page 8 of the Daily Statesman, we have less than 2% of female population involved in forex trading. And that's 15 million female population in Ghana is involved. That's less than 2% of them are involved in forex trading. But mostly, it's men who dominate in that sector. So I guess,
I'm not surprised.
when I read it, I was thinking, wow. So we like taking the risks. Musika, a woman and her money are rarely parted.
We think a lot. We need to picture what is likely to happen. Like, before you do it, it doesn't just happen. Yeah. Okay,
so let's get into that Galamsey related.
Okay, so just wanted to say, and this is from the Daily Graphic newspaper, where the graphics Doche Kobla Akroboto went back to the Ankobra River, and he's reporting that, they are seeing some progress, and that, the water is running clearer a bit. So there's a little hope. And when the rains set in, according to his interactions, it would even get better. So there's some positive news out of Operation Halt. We're not excited yet. We're just, trying to measure where we are. But just this one, Ben, before you come in. This is the News One pullout from the Daily Guide newspaper. And there's a picture that I want to show you because Kwabena is denying being gay. And apparently a lot of people saw a certain picture and a wardrobe change, if you like, and that's why they arrived at the conclusion that he's gay. You will not appreciate this, but if you put the earlier picture there so that we'll see. So Kobna painted his nails, okay, and put this picture out. Quite a number of pictures, really. Can we take the? So that's the painted nails there. And he says, people just looked at the picture and his style. There's another one. Can we get the other one so that we can see the style really well, where he's standing? That's it. And because of that, people think that he's gay because they say that he's posing and dressing like somebody who is. So he was on Hits FM on Monday, and he was saying, so people can actually look at a photo and out of it, know what you do in your bedroom and arrive at the conclusion that you are gay, like seriously. So he's strongly denying that. He says that this is a new fashion trend for him. He likes it. The fact that he can paint his nails, that's like liberation for him. So he's in an excited place. Stop making guesses.
Okay, so that looks to me like, old school dressing and nothing more. I mean, it's a fashion statement. We see the Osibos and the rest dress whichever way they want. I think we're pretty, well, we've always been. We're all judgmental in certain ways, but I think sometimes we stretch it a bit. The fact that there are artists who paint their nails and all of that doesn't mean they are gay. So I really think that is something. But a bit of a sad one here that I skipped. Boy 9 drowns in abandoned pond at Keta. That one was, very sad. I think class 1. And his sandal, his slipper fell into the thing. He tried to get it in.
Abandoned pits.
And that was actually pond.
Oh.
Pond. So there was water in there. They were playing football, actually. So his slipper falls in. He tries to, and the others couldn't rescue him. They couldn't. So sad, very sad incident there.
Absolutely. Well, on that sad note, we're directing you to myjoyonline.com where we have plenty of some other stories as well. You can go there. But Mr. Nabila Abdullahi is standing by, looking straight into my face and wondering, will they get out so I can come and do my sports? Well, by the way, Hatterbook is still on top of the league table. Stay with us.